It's Monday, July 28th. This is CTV at 6. Here's what's making news tonight. Ottawa makes good on a promise to cut tolls on the Confederation Bridge and ferries. What does increased tariffs on softwood lumber mean for the maritime economy?
A heat warning blankets much of the region, bringing high humidex values until midweek.
Live from our Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 6. Here is Todd Battis.
Good evening. As of Friday, making the trip to and from Prince Edward Island will be more affordable. Calling it a trade barrier, the Prime Minister made good on an election promise to reduce bridge and ferry tolls. Josh Smith has the details.
Good morning, Prime Minister. Prime Minister Mark Carney was on the island today to announce that they're reducing the bridge toll from $50.25 to $20 and 50% off the ferry route.
Today's announcement will mean more Canadians can see more of Atlantic Canada.
Carney stated the move will save millions for those who travel the only road between New Brunswick and PEI. The island's premier is welcoming the savings.
28 years, islanders have paid hundreds of millions of dollars to cross that bridge.
Many tourists and locals on the streets in Borden Carleton saw it as a positive move.
This is wonderful news and makes it so much easier for us to hop back and forth whenever we want.
It's going to be a little less of a ding on the pocketbook getting off the island.
I believe $50 plus the trailer, it's expensive, so $20, maybe it's more fair.
I'm just crossing over today to go eat Chinese food in Summerside. So yeah, that's going to encourage me to do that a little more.
The island is very reliant on tourism, and so maybe, by dropping it to $20 bridge fee, that it will bring more people here.
They've been saying they've been going to do it for years now, so it's finally getting done. That's a good thing.
The price to cross the strait here in Borden Carleton has never been this low. Back in 1997, when the bridge opened, the price was only $35 to make it to the mainland. Experts say the slashing of the tolls will have a huge impact on business.
One industry alone in PEI, the potato industry, the tolls themselves have a direct and indirect impact of $7 million, which means for them, it's a tax on their industry versus, those who are on the mainland.
President of the PEI Potato Board, Greg Donald, said this is a good move considering all fresh and processed potatoes leave the island by bridge and ferry. With over 1 million vehicles crossing annually, the reduced tolls will make Prince Edward Island more accessible to the rest of the country. Josh Smith, CTV News, Borden Carleton, Prince Edward Island.
Now, not everyone is applauding today's reduction in bridge and ferry tolls. Premier David Eby of British Columbia called out Ottawa for playing favorites. The federal government does not subsidize BC's ferry service to the level it does in Atlantic Canada. Eby insists that's not fair.
We have to watch the federal government show up on the East Coast and subsidize ferry users that already get a $300 subsidy per each $1 that a BC ferry user gets.
Premier Eby says a funding model is needed as BC pays equalization payments and shouldn't also pay to subsidize Atlantic ferries. Should also point out that today's announcement also means the price of taking the ferry from Digby to St. John and from North Sydney to Newfoundland and Labrador will cost you less. In CTV's web poll, we're asking this question: are you more likely to travel to and from PEI now that Ottawa has lowered the bridge toll and those on the ferries? Your options are yes or no. Let us know at ctvnewsatlantic.ca. And speaking of tolls, the final toll-related work is nearly done on Halifax's largest bridge. Traffic ramps have been reconnected. The speed limit at the Dartmouth approach has been increased to 70 kilometers an hour. Construction that closed the McKay Bridge over the weekend is wrapped up. This, of course, was all part of removing the tolls from the two Halifax bridges. With an August 1st deadline for a trade deal with the U.S. now just days away, the White House turned around and slapped a nearly 21% tariff on softwood lumber. It could be devastating for New Brunswick's industry. CTV's Derek Haggett reports.
Politicians and industry leaders are up in arms over the decision to raise anti-dumping duties on Canadian softwood.
Just to be clear, from the government of New Brunswick perspective, that these increase in tariffs and countervailing duties are unwarranted, unfair.
The New Brunswick lumber producers say they are deeply troubled by the decision to increase the duties by over 14%. Increasing anti-dumping duties to 20.56% from the current average rate of 7.66% is unjustified. New Brunswick's softwood lumber producers already face punitive and unfair anti-dumping and countervailing duties. 28,000 New Brunswickers earn their living directly from the forests.
Whenever anybody in the supply chain hears about duties and tariffs or any other fees, they get very anxious about those fees being imposed on them in the form of lower wood prices and possibly making their operation not viable anymore.
The British Columbia Lumber Organization has condemned the decision, calling the duties unjustified and punitive.
We know here in Canada over the last number of weeks and months that Donald Trump is doing everything in his power to destroy our economy.
Ironically, John Herron believes Canada may actually be better positioned to negotiate a softwood lumber deal now than it has been in the past.
Minister LeBlanc, who's leading the trade discussions with the Americans on all commodities, now has softwood lumber on the top sheet.
Derek Haggett, CTV News, Moncton.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
A man was handed a life sentence today for killing a Halifax optician nearly 3.5 years ago. A judge heard more about the victim, Tony Nader, and the lasting impact his killing has had on co-workers. CTV's Callum Smith reports.
The December 30th, 2021 killing of Tony Nader forced at least 2 of his then co-workers to leave Insight Optometry. From being asked questions about what happened by his customers to being reminded of his death whenever they looked at his desk and fearing their own safety because of what happened, recalling the feeling of shock and helplessness. Quote, I remember standing between Tony, who lay dying on the floor, and the front door, wondering why I could hear the sirens, but help wasn't arriving. Time seemed frozen. Unquote. And that was only some of what Victoria Peterson shared with the judge, adding that her teenage son was terrified after the murder that someone would come into the clinic and hurt her or someone else. A difficult reality for family, friends, and coworkers.
I think it's fair to say, and talking to all those people, that this was a shocking event. It did have a big impact on the community at large. It was, I think, something that nobody could have anticipated, nobody could have seen coming.
Nader was working that morning when Simon Felix Cormier snuck in, dodging COVID protocols, went directly to Nader before brutally and relentlessly attacking him with a knife. Justice Krista Brothers found Cormier guilty of first-degree murder in June, rejecting the defense argument that he should be found not criminally responsible. He also received a 90-day concurrent sentence for assault causing bodily harm for attacking a patient who tried to intervene. Cormier had been under the unfounded belief that he was previously abused by Nader, who at one point dated his mother. Justice Brothers concluded Cormier had a difficult childhood and struggled with mental health, but found he could have distinguished right from wrong. She told Cormier she'd ensure mental health and addictions programming would be available in prison and urged him to not squander his chances to take part. Nader was remembered by one of his co-workers as kind, compassionate, witty, and wise. One of Nader's former co-workers who wrote a victim impact statement asked the judge to consider the full weight of what was taken from them. Not just a wonderful man, but the peace and security of those who are left behind. Those are the words of Victoria Peterson. Meanwhile, Cormier was officially sentenced to life in prison with no chance at parole for 25 years, but the judge warned him he may never get released. Todd.
All right, CTV's Callum Smith at the law courts in downtown Halifax. Online, we have details of the arrest of a man accused of spitting at and punching police officers in PEI. And you can read more about that at ctvnewsatlantic.ca. More than $9 million is being spent to address gender-based violence in New Brunswick. The province will put just over $4.5 million into transition housing for abuse victims. There's $2 million for outreach and education programs. And a new gender equity action fund is also being created. There's a live look right now at White Point Beach, where it is currently 16 degrees as we bring in Suzette Beliveau in today for Kaylin. And we should all be at the beach right now, shouldn't we?
Oh, Todd, you're absolutely right. We should all be at the beach soaking up the sun, and it is a little cooler, as we saw 16 in White Point, a little cooler along coastal areas. So a bit of relief there, because it sure was hot today, as we saw in our reports earlier on CTV News at 5. A lot of people going to the water's edge. Clear skies around the region today, too, so not a lot of relief there. And a heat warning in effect for a large part of the Maritimes today through to Wednesday. The heat warning has expanded since this morning. It now includes Cape Breton Island, all of mainland Nova Scotia, except the Tri-Counties, Yarmouth, Digby, and Shelburne, central southern parts of New Brunswick as well, with that max temperature reaching about 31 degrees in some communities and up to 38, that feel-like temperature with the humidex value. So again, a lot of heat coming. Be prepared, have that hat with you, and a lot of water if you're out and about. The wind not offering a lot of relief for us either over the next few days. You can see the wind gusts this evening into tonight. Again, just around 20, not a lot. So again, do keep that in mind. I know a lot of people in the summer nights like to sleep with the window open and let that cool breeze come in the house, but it won't really feel like that right now. So again, stay safe. We will have more coming up later in the broadcast on the heat warning and on the temperatures tonight into tomorrow, Todd.
All right, Suzette, thank you. We'll see you for the full forecast in about 16 minutes. Now, earlier in the growing season, maritime farmers were pleased with the way things were shaping up. But with this streak of hot, dry weather, are they still as optimistic? Jonathan McGinnis went to the Annapolis Valley to find out.
This fruit is looking really good.
Some of Josh Olton's crops are loving these sun-soaked days in the Annapolis Valley. Peppers and tomatoes are thriving. Others out in the field, however, are having a tougher time with the hot, dry conditions.
Vegetables are 70% water, and so if Mother Nature's not doing that for us, then we need to provide that through irrigation.
An inch of rain a week would be sufficient, according to Olton, but that hasn't been coming. With the ground drying out, Olton was forced to start watering his plants.
But if you're on some really well-drained, sandy soil, you're looking at dust.
It's not getting to be able to move the nutrients around the trees effectively. So we start to see some yellowing and some chlorosis of the leaves.
Those nutrients are typically carried to Sam Lutz's apple trees by water.
So things have really started to dry up, and June particularly was quite rough. We had about 50 mils of rain for the whole month, but about 60% of that came all in one day.
Lutz is not able to supply water to his orchard because his sources are running dry. His mature trees with deeper roots are still doing okay. Young ones, however, with shallower root systems aren't growing.
The trees aren't growing as much as we'd hope, which delays them filling their space, and will eventually delay them coming into productions.
Another issue caused by the hot and dry conditions is in the fields where animals graze. The grass is either dead or not growing, and that's forcing farmers to use some of the hay they're storing for the winter. And Todd, this heat is forcing some farmers to alter their days. They're working more early in the morning and later in the evening so they can avoid being out here in the fields when the day is at its hottest. Todd.
Yeah, well, that's certainly understandable, John. Thank you from Berwick tonight. And an invasive species of beetle in the Maritimes seems to be thriving in this hot weather. CTV's Emma Convey spoke with experts on what to do to protect your plants and trees.
This half-acre community garden in Dartmouth grows a variety of fruits, vegetables, and flowers. But in order to keep them alive, gardeners have added beetle picking to their daily to-do list.
I'm out there usually twice a day when they get to their worst, and I'm picking them and I'm putting them into a bucket of soapy water.
Last year was their worst year yet, but the peak season is just beginning. And they're already finding close to 100 Japanese beetles every day.
Last year we were picking beetles at this, at the same rate we were picking beans. And so I'd have 4 volunteers picking beans, 4 volunteers picking beetles. And you know what? We got a great bean harvest. It was a lot of beetles.
Japanese beetles have been in North America for decades. But as of recently, as temperatures climb, it seems so too to the number of these beetles.
Insects are cold-blooded. The warmer it is,
The faster they metabolize, the faster they grow, the more they reproduce.
About 1 centimeter long, metallic green head and bronze-colored wings. Some say beautiful, all say destructive.
Japanese beetles actually start as grubs in your lawn, so they have been infestating your lawn, causing lawn damage, and then they will emerge and certainly find plants that they like to nibble on.
They find a garden that's got a lot of very delicate leaves, soft leaves, a lot of good food like that. They'll stay there until they see something better.
Leaving behind a leaf skeleton.
If it does it when the plants are small, then they won't be able to get that sunlight. They won't be able to do the photosynthesis to keep growing.
Some birds, insects, and raccoons will eat them, but their main predators don't exist here. So for now, it's biological control sprays, nematodes, and digging them up as grubs, or traps and plants to get rid of the adults.
They will attract beetles in. You will see an influx coming in. You want to put these traps about 30 feet away from your plants.
Now, Todd, your initial thought may be to stomp or squish them, but the gardeners I spoke with today said when they're squished, they actually release a pheromone that could attract more. So if you're trying to get rid of them, it might not be the best option. Todd.
That is good advice. Okay, Emma Convey in North End, Halifax. Thank you for that. There is now a home for homeless encampments in St. John. The long-awaited green zone has been given the green light. In a city where homelessness is on the rise, advocates insist this could help. CTV's Nick Moore reports.
The new Neighborly Homes community in St. John is about to welcome its first residents. Egbert Street is the first designated green zone in St. John, defined as a city-owned property that can provide transitional housing for people who are homeless.
We wanted to have a site that was on a bus route. We needed a site where we could bring in water and sewerage. But if we have it on our own property, then we manage it to our own terms. And so and we've got the $3.5 million between the federal government and the provincial government.
A colorful mural will greet residents here, leading to 27 individual sleeping units, shared bathrooms, showers, laundry, and kitchen space. A second Neighborly Homes community is about to be built nearby on Thorne Avenue. Both will be staffed around the clock.
So we need all kinds of solutions. This is one part of it. It's low cost, rapid to deploy, and we can get people housed quickly. But then we also need to invest in the more permanent supportive housing, which is also happening.
12 Neighbors, which operates a tiny home community in Fredericton, is taking the lead here as well.
This is a place where we want people to be on the move. When you're here, your job is working on yourself, working on the next step. This is really our goal, is to help people move toward independence.
The second green zone on Thorne Avenue is expected to open by the end of the year. Residents of the Neighborly Homes community on Egbert Street will begin to move in on Friday. Nick Moore, CTV News, St. John.
We'll take our first break of this Monday evening. Still to come, Suzette is back with more warm weather details. But first, a summer fight for ice.
I'm Ryan McDonald in Bedeck, Nova Scotia, where nearly a year after the community's only rink was closed for good, there's still no real sign of a new one being built anytime soon. And it turns out the old arena was one where some pretty big names played before they became stars. The story is coming up.
This might be one of the hottest weeks of the year, but that isn't stopping people in a Cape Breton community from thinking about winter and continuing to fight for something as, well, as Canadian as it gets, a new rink. CTV's Ryan McDonald reports.
It's been nearly a year since the only rink in Bedeck, or in all of Victoria County for that matter, closed for good.
You know, hockey rinks all across Canada, rinks are, they're part of the heart of these small town communities.
This is the rink where Olympian Jessica Wong learned to play hockey. The street leading to the arena bears her name. Sidney Crosby even played here as a member of the visiting Dartmouth Subways more than 2 decades ago. But there is still no sign of shovels going into the ground anytime soon to start building a new accessible arena.
We're still waiting for a funding announcement from the federal government. And, you know, and you have to fight for that because we're not the only community looking for that stuff.
The rink just means so much to so many people.
There was already a $5 million grant in place from the Nova Scotia government and a $1 million commitment from the municipality of Victoria County, but the new rink steering committee says they need nearly $13 million more from Ottawa. In the meantime, they have started some grassroots fundraising of their own.
We need to get started soon. We've already lost one full season here at the facility, and we have a 2-year time to build the new facility itself.
On August the 6th, the fundraising golf tournament will be held here at the Bella Bay Golf Club as part of the community's efforts to raise money towards a new rink. Organizers say that last year's tournament raised more than $70,000 and that at this year's event there will be a significant donation made, all towards their ultimate efforts to raise $1 million towards a new arena. The arena also used to host the closing banquet for the Cabot Trail Relay Race. This year that was held under a huge tent next door, one that was rented at a major cost.
I'm sure they're hoping for our community rink to come back too, so that we can move back inside and have some comfort for what is, one of the larger events that Cape Breton hosts.
For now, the old arena remains empty as it awaits demolition, but the hope remains that a new one will ultimately be built in its place so that kids and maybe even another future Olympian or NHL star might have a place around here to play. Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Bedeck, Nova Scotia.
Well, hot enough for you? If you say yes, well, you should know Tuesday's shaping up to be a carbon copy of today. Suzette's working on the details. Your full forecast after this. Hello, Annie Ganesh. You have got a warm evening, 26 degrees as we look at that live shot. A few people milling about, the rest of you at home watching the show, no doubt. Suzette Belveau in the Weather Center for 2 nights?
2 nights, Todd. It's a treat.
I've said it before, Kalen Mitchell knows when to pick them.
Oh, he does. It's absolutely stunning out there. If you like the heat. If you don't like the heat, well,
yeah,
maybe not so much.
And boy, are they getting heat in central Canada right now.
They are. Toronto and the GTA under a heat warning as well. I know a lot of people vacationing this time of year. So it is hot if you're traveling to parts of, Toronto.
I know you're going to show us now. Things have cooled a bit in Western Canada, which is good news because they've had so many issues with wildfires. They could use the cooler temperatures.
Yeah, some relief very much welcomed as well, as you mentioned, Todd. 24 in Vancouver right now and sunny skies. 16 in Calgary, 18 in Edmonton. Some welcome news. 19 in Saskatoon, 24 in Regina, 23 in Winnipeg, 17 in Thompson. As we mentioned, as we make our way to central Canada and to the east, 32 in Ottawa, 33 in Toronto. And these are the temperatures, not with the humidex values. As we mentioned, there is a heat warning in that part of the country as well. Toronto, GTA surrounding areas. Out here at home, 30 in Fredericton, 27 in Halifax, 25 in Charlottetown. Now let's talk about the heat wave. That is the newsmaker when it comes to the weather forecast today and tomorrow into Wednesday, into midweek. That max temperature you're going to experience 29 to 31 degrees, but with the humidex making it feel more like 36 or 38. So just do keep that in mind. If you have any outdoor activities planned, you want to keep safety top of mind, hat and water, of course. Now the heat warning could end sooner for parts of New Brunswick. Perhaps tomorrow night we'll start to see some relief, but for Nova Scotia, Cape Breton Island and much of mainland Nova Scotia, you really won't see that relief until Wednesday night, Thursday. Let's take a look at what you can expect tonight. Light winds in the forecast, which doesn't really help our situation here when it comes to the heat. The temperatures, though, in the mid to high teens overnight. 17 in Halifax, 17 in Charlottetown, 18 in Fredericton, 15 in Sydney, 15 in Campbellton, 17 in Yarmouth. Light winds, fog patches will be developing along coastal areas overnight. Tomorrow in northern New Brunswick, mainly sunny, increasing cloudiness throughout the day. 29 in Campbellton, 30 in Perth Andover, 31 in Miramichi, 31 in Caraquet. For central and southern parts of the province, 32 in Fredericton, 29 in St. John, a little cooler along coastal communities, 31 in Moncton, a mix of sun and cloud. For Prince Edward Island, you're not in the heat warning zone, but still hot, 28 degrees, mainly sunny skies and light winds in the forecast. Cape Breton Island and parts of mainland Nova Scotia, mainly sunny skies, 29 in Sydney tomorrow, 30 in Antigonish, 29 in Ecumsecum, 30 30 in New Glasgow, 30 in Tatamagouche, and 29 in Kansas. So again, running to coastal areas. If you want a little relief, you hit the beach, right? Fog patches dissipating in the morning. Then you will see sunshine across many parts of Nova Scotia. 30 in Truro, 29 in Halifax, 29 in Sheet Harbour, and in Chester. And for southwestern Nova Scotia, those fog patches dissipating off the coast in the morning. 28 in Yarmouth, Shelburne, and Digby. Again, Tri-Counties not part of the heat warning. 30 in Middleton and parts of the Annapolis Valley, and 29 in Bridgewater, where you will see mainly sunny skies. All right, let's take a look now at your 7-day forecast. And for midweek in New Brunswick, Thursday, there is some cloud coverage coming in, and that's when we're really going to see a dip, that overnight low hitting 9, 8 the overnight low on Friday, so some nice relief. Open that window, you get some cool air coming in. For the long weekend, Saturday and Sunday in New Brunswick, 24 and 27 on Sunday, a mix of sun and cloud in the forecast. And for Nova Scotia, very similar. Chance of showers Thursday, a bit of relief, still warm though. 13 that overnight low into Friday, 21 sun and cloud. And then as we enter the long weekend, Saturday 23, and then wrapping it up Monday with 26. Prince Edward Island, very similar. You'll see some showers Thursday, 23, and the long weekend looks nice, sunny, and warm. Todd.
Suzette, I was at the Pointe du Chien Wharf on the weekend in Shediac. Boy, was that a great spot to be. To help with this these warm days, so maybe folks can get some relief there. Okay, we will see you later for the Wake Up Weather. Next, astronomer Rob Thacker joins us, and we have this story on the scene.
I'm Katie Kelly. Tonight on The Scene, you're not going to want to miss our latest contest. We're giving away 4 VIP passes to the YQM Country Fest and a whole lot more to go with it. We'll see you on The Scene for all the details.
Okay, so coming up all week long, including tomorrow, your chance to win some tickets to get off the Beer Fest 2025.
Plus tomorrow at 7:30, your chance at a $100 gift card to Sobeys. Good luck.
Welcome back. We thought this would be a good time to have astronomer, St. Mary's University Professor Rob Thacker in for a midsummer update, astrophysicist, to find out what's happening in space. Pretty broad. Just to prove nothing can evade politics, so we're going to start on Earth.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're going to talk about NASA, which is facing some dramatic budget cut threats, as many departments are, from the White House. And in terms of what you study, this will have a tremendous impact.
Yeah, this is really significant. When you look at the main sort of numbers for NASA, they're looking at about a 25% cut on their overall budget, but it's the cut to the Science Mission Directorate. This is like 47%, and that's really significant. We've already seen layoffs, like some very, very good people that I know have been laid off in the States. And the implications for this, for science at NASA, are huge. And I know that we have the picture behind us from the James Webb Space Telescope. Everyone knows about that. But we've got to remember that NASA is doing a lot more than space telescopes. It's actually looking down, doing climate monitoring as well. So there's an awful lot of stuff that's going to be impacted by this. And, you know, there's a lot of very upset people, and there's going to be a lot of people who are going to lose jobs as well.
Now, some of those, that expertise, those experts, could they be lured to Canada? We have a space agency. Do we have the resources for that? Are we interested? Universities?
So certainly people have been talking about that. But the challenge is, I mean, the funding system in Canada for space science is very different to the US system. And like a factor of 10 in terms of money doesn't even cover it. So we are looking at potentially people who are used to very large budgets coming to Canada and a different way of working. We scrimp and scrape. We do some really great stuff, but in terms of our budgets, we're just not even remotely close, right? And that's a huge difference. I think many of these people will be looking at Europe, to be honest.
Okay. And it's not the type of thing that, say, a Blue Origin or a SpaceX, I mean, we're talking a different field of study, so they may not be, their skills may not be applicable?
Well, I mean, for the people who do the science, I mean, they have a very specific skill set. The people who do the rocket technology development and things like that, those people are in a different situation right now. That's kind of like a hot area to be in, I would say. Whereas the science side of things has always been something that went on and on and on through NASA, and now that's really under the microscope.
Okay, let's rise above politics, way above, and talk about some of this and what you've been seeing covered recently. And it's want to talk about one thing in particular and get you to explain to us. 3I Atlas.
Yep.
Okay, what is this? There's been a lot of chatter about it.
So this is the biggest, I'll call it, interstellar comet that we've ever seen. So this is literally a comet that's coming from a planetary system outside of our own. How do we know that? It's going crazy fast. It's just got too high a velocity to have originated even from around our solar system. And so it's coming through. We've had 2 of these objects before, but what sets 3I Atlas apart is it's that much bigger. It's several miles across by the looks of it. It's going to zip between the Mars and Earth orbit when it comes through, so it's going to be pretty close. And so we're now just starting to see a few of these things, and with the Rubin telescope that's just coming online in Chile, we're going to find a lot more of these, we think, over the next months and years.
Is it moving at such a speed that it will escape us, or is there enough time for folks like you to be able to study this?
So we will be able to study it. We will be able to take a few pictures of it, that's for sure, once it gets closer. But it is zipping through. I mean, if you were to classify its speed relative to things in our solar system, it's probably about 3 times faster than most of the things we see that are going fast within our solar system.
We saw a few images there of Rubin telescope you mentioned in Chile. This is the Ferrari of telescopes. This is going to revolutionize things, right?
Yeah, no, this is completely different from how James Webb works as a space telescope, for example. Rubin is about surveying the whole sky every 3 days. And so literally building a movie of the sky. And you're thinking, why is that interesting? Because it's going to open up what we call the entire field of transient astronomy, how the sky is changing on 3 days, weeks, months, and years, and so on. And we will have this totally amazing data set of the southern sky.
So it will paint a complete picture of the sky every 3 nights.
So the beautiful thing about it, it will do the southern sky because it's in Chile, but the beautiful thing about it is when they were proposing the telescope, they literally drew up the science area of resolution and time, and there was this big empty box with a question mark, and that was what Rubin was going to look at. And it was a beautiful way of getting people to invest in it.
We've been talking about this for a very long time. I think I did a story on it when I was a science reporter 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, big telescopes take a long time to get built. As Canada, we were reviewing this in 2010. I was actually on a panel that was looking at joining the telescope in an official country capacity, and we didn't do that. Personally, I still feel that was a misstep. But yeah, it takes a long time to build a big facility.
If it takes that long to build, do you miss out on technology? Is it already dated when it's built?
A little bit, yeah. That's especially true, believe it or not, for space telescope, because they actually have to be engineered to survive launch as well, which puts additional sort of like risk factors on the technology you can adopt. Whereas on the ground, you can tend to keep up with new things as detectors are improved, and you can always change them on the ground. That's the key thing.
Rob Thacker, always fascinating. Thank you for coming by, and we will see you again soon.
Always a lot of fun.
All right. We will take a break. We've got lots more of your show after this. In our health segment tonight, there is yet another reason to monitor screen time in young children. CTV's Amanda Debison has that and more in the Monday edition of The Lifeline.
More research finds that too much screen time may trigger emotional and behavioral issues in children.
Excessive TV watching, computer, tablet, cell phone, and video game use can increase anxiety, depression, and aggression in children. That's according to a study published in the academic journal Psychological Bulletin. On the flip side, children struggling with these issues may turn to screens to cope. The Public Health Agency of Canada recommends setting limits to screen time and modeling healthy screen time habits. Screen time for children younger than 2 years is not recommended. For children aged 2 to 5 years, limit routine or regular screen time to less than 1 hour per day. If you're worried about your risk of getting Alzheimer's disease, get your daily steps in. A new study shows that walking daily can reduce the risk of cognitive decline, especially among people with a genetic predisposition for Alzheimer's. Almost 3,000 participants between the ages of 70 and 79 reported their daily walking habits over the course of 10 years. Those who reported maintaining or increasing their walking habits over the years showed greater improvements in processing speed and executive function. The study results will be presented Tuesday at the annual Alzheimer's Association International Conference in Toronto. Finally, a new study is challenging the long-standing notion that a good sense of humor
runs in the family. Researchers in the UK examined the heritability of something known as humor production ability, or HPA, the skill of creating humor that makes others laugh. After studying more than 1,300 adult twins, both identical and non-identical, researchers found when it comes to producing jokes or witty remarks, the funny bone might not be inherited. Researchers say this suggests that growing up in different environments may have a much stronger impact on developing humor than shared genes. The study was published in Twin Research and Human Genetics. With Health and Medical News, I'm Amanda Debison for The Lifeline.
Katie Kelly is back on the scene with us tonight in studio, but really her heart remains in cancer.
That's so true, Todd. It was fabulous.
What did I tell you?
I love it.
Once you go,
yeah,
it's a great event.
it is. I met so many great people.
Yep.
I saw some fabulous shows, and I caught up with some great musicians like this guy.
Morgan Tony, how you doing? And welcome back to StanFest.
Oh, I'm doing great, Katie. It's such an amazing feeling to be back home at StanFest, and I'm so looking forward to it.
Yeah, as a Cape Bretoner, you're from kind of pretty close to here, right?
Yeah, about an hour and a half away.
Yeah, not too far. So this is your second time performing at StanFest. You were here last year as well. Talk to me a little bit about the StanFest experience.
The StanFest experience is you kind of have to come here and experience it for yourself. You know, there's something for everybody here, the children, the elders, everybody. And it's just a welcoming feeling when you come here. You feel welcomed by the artists, everyone behind the scenes. It's just a beautiful place to be.
Yeah, and I hear the hospitality is a big part of it too.
Hospitality is a big part of it.
Yeah, well, I have to say a big congratulations, because just announced last week, how many nominations was it that you got for the Nova Scotia Music Awards this year?
We got 5.
Wow, that is huge, Morgan. Congratulations. How does that one feel?
It feels amazing. You know, Music Nova Scotia has been a big part of our journey ever since the very beginning with our first album, so it really feels good to go back to Music Nova Scotia.
Awesome. And what else is up this summer for you?
We're pretty much all over the place, all over Canada. We're going to Alberta, we're going to Newfoundland, and then we're coming back home for Celtic Colors in October.
Awesome. Amazing. Morgan, you're always so busy. You're always killing it, and it's so great to see you shining.
It's good to see you too, Katie.
Yeah, good to see him back home.
He's awesome. Okay.
Speaking of back home.
Okay, just one thing. I feel like you need to get me a wind machine to have in the studio, because it's been 3 days with my hair blowing in the wind, and now I'm like, oh, it's just not moving
There was a lot of this the last few days.
Yes, I was like holding my hair like this. I just have to talk about how much I loved going to StanFest. Again, it was my first time, and first of all, I just love Canso as a whole. Yes, it's windy, but just such a beautiful place. The organizers at that festival, the volunteers, all amazing people. They work so hard. And then the music itself, to die.
Yeah.
So good. So many good shows. Sloan and Adam Baldwin and the Stanfields and on and on and on. And I had the camping experience. So I really got to experience the full weekend. It was just awesome. I'll be back for sure. I just want to say thank you to everyone. I loved meeting a bunch of viewers too. It was just awesome.
Yeah, it's good to hear. That's a good one.
Yes.
You've got concert info as well.
Yes. I have a contest to tell you about.
Yes, contest, yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's
it's
combined,
a little bit of both.
Right?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
you're not wrong. And that was my first time at StanFest. Well, this will not be my first time at YQM Country Fest. I'm so excited to go back, and we want you to come with me and enjoy some country in the city. Some of the biggest names in country music are headed for Dieppe, New Brunswick this summer, including Kane Brown, Jelly Roll, Luke Bryan, and many more will hit the stage at the YQM Country Fest. It's on from August 21st to 23rd, and one lucky viewer is going to win a YQM Country Fest prize package. It includes 4 VIP tickets, 3 nights at the Delta Hotel's Beau Séjour in Moncton, a $200 St. James Gate gift certificate, and a $100 Shell gas card. You can enter for your chance to experience country nights under the city lights. The contest ends Saturday at 6 p.m. We'll be reminding you every day, but definitely one of my absolute favorite festivals. I've never missed one, and I never plan to miss one.
Billboards with those pictures all over town in Moncton. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow night. We'll see you in a minute.
Mornings with Aaron and Peter. What was your "that's a problem for somebody else" moment? Tomorrow at 7.
And what's your phobia? Share it with us tomorrow at 6.
Taking a look at the markets on this Monday, the Dow opened the trading week down 64 points. A new survey is out on the province where people save the most money. Marilla Fernandez tells us which one.
Albertans have been saving more money than Canadians who live in other provinces and territories. Desjardins says between 2020 and 2023, they managed to put aside nearly 9% of their disposable income. That's compared to the average of under 4%. So how are they doing it? Albertans have higher disposable income and more affordable living. Celestica reported earnings today. The company designed and makes electronic components. It says second quarter revenue is up 21% over last year. That boost led to Celestica reevaluating revenue for the year, boosting its outlook to $11.5 billion. Here's how the trading day ended. The Canadian dollar is down today to 72.80. West Texas Intermediate is up $1.55 to 66.71. Our fix on Western Canadian Select has it down almost $3 to $50.72. And the TSX dropped 88 points to 27,405. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
One more check of the weather. There's Suzette on the weather deck.
Todd, it is absolutely stunning out here right now. What a beautiful summer evening. I hope everyone can experience it a little bit, you know, after they're done tuning in to our newscast tonight, because it's beautiful. There's a very light breeze, but if you're in the shade, I would say it's quite comfortable. Let's take a look at our viewer photo. And this comes from Sean Dixon, and this was taken Saturday evening, sunset over Tatamagouche Bay. Absolutely beautiful. And I'm in for Kaylin tomorrow, and I would love to receive some of your beautiful photos to choose from, and I'll show one on the news tomorrow night. So do please send me an email and send me some of your beautiful photos from across the region, because we all know how lovely this part of the country is. All right, when it comes to your day planner tomorrow, if you are along coastal areas, it's going to be foggy. Temperatures sitting around the mid to high teens when you wake up, but it won't take long before those temperatures start to climb, and by midday in the high 20s, some areas with that humidex value. Again, that heat warning continues, feeling like the 30s for anywhere from 36 to 38 or so at its peak. In New Brunswick, that heat warning may start to lessen tomorrow, but for Nova Scotia, it could go into Wednesday. So again, if you are spending time outside tomorrow, winds will be light, so you'll want a hat and some water, of course, as this heat warning continues in the region. Now let's take a look at what's happening on CTV Morning Live tomorrow.
Tuesday on CTV Morning Live, picture perfect.
Yes, the folks from Two Dog Studio join us on the show to give us a behind-the-scenes look at how they get the best personality-filled pet portraits.
News, weather, and more. It's everything you need. It's CTV Morning Live, Tuesday.
And finally for us tonight, Emancipation Day is later this week, but an early celebration took place in Dartmouth over the weekend. The Dartmouth Heritage Museum hosted an Emancipation Day social, which brought together a group of panelists to discuss its importance and impact on Black history. August 1st, 1834 marked the day the Slavery Abolition Act came into effect across the British Empire, of course, including Canada. The event gave opportunity for open discussion about work that still needs to be done.
So what's really important at this juncture of our history is that we own all of our history. And when we own all of our history, it means owning the fact that our ancestors were enslaved, that some of our ancestors were enslaved. And it's also owning the fact that our ancestors were never compensated for that brutal enslavement.
Guest speakers from historic African Nova Scotian communities like North Preston were also present. That is a look at the day here at home. Bruce Frisco is in with our next newscast at 11:30 after CTV National. And CTVNewsAtlantic.ca is updating. We thank you for watching. We hope to see you for your local news back here at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. Until then, have a good night.
CTV News, the Maritime's #1 newscast.